Hi, you're listening to WRULP Savannah, Georgia 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And you just tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. And while I get my board prepared here, I wanted to welcome you to the show. On my show, we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing. I have in the studio with me Daniil Ivanov, my business partner. We actually just came back from New York City. We were there for the weekend, and we were going to talk a little bit about Airbnb experiences we had around that time that we're gone, because usually something happens when we're gone, and we're local Airbnb hosts here in the city of Savannah. And by the way, if you're listening from out of town, this is a local radio station. We're all volunteer hosts here. We have about 70. We have lots of music programs, talk programs, and we're very local, very community-oriented. So if you're visiting the beautiful city of Savannah, welcome. If you are a local, go outside and enjoy the hot heat. We love it.
It's hot.
Yeah, we got struck. It's beautiful in New York City right now. It's 70. Yeah, we come out of the airplane, it was like, bam. It was definitely an experience to go from that change of temperature in one moment. But we've been busy. We've not been just playing and goofing off, which we had fair share of that in New York City, of course, always. And shout out to our friend Dorianne, who always hosts us out there in Upper West Side in Manhattan. Love it there, love it there. Yeah, do you want to talk about what happened this week?
Wow. Well,
Let's talk about air conditioning because it's so hot.
Yeah. This is where the segment called Summertime Airbnb Issues
in the South. Summertime Airbnb issues in the South with people coming from the North.
Yeah, North or best issues a little bit too, because the Palmetto box, that's something that a lot of Northerners or Midwesterners haven't seen in their life.
No.
So they think that's some kind of devil itself.
Yeah, it's devil himself. Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary if you see a cockroach, which a type of cockroach is a palmetto bug. We call it palmetto bugs, but they're really roaches. And they're very big. I mean, they get to be like almost a hand size.
Yeah,
sometimes the palm of the hand.
Exactly. And all they don't actually carry diseases like those German roaches.
And they do too, I think. But they don't
They come in for water during summertime. And they come in for shelter during the wintertime. Mm-hmm. And if you own the house, and which we own few, same thing in Atlanta, Georgia, same thing in Macon, Georgia, you can get rid of them. I mean, that's just a part of the business in Georgia. That's it. They're your neighbor.
They're your neighbor, yeah. Well, you can get rid of them for the most part. But, I mean, pests are always, I always say this, pests are always a function of climate and cleanliness. And our houses are cleaned between guests professionally, so cleanliness isn't really the issue, but just kind of people coming and going, leaving doors open, maybe even opening the windows. I have a lot of people that come from up north. They're just so sticky hot, and they think, well, let's just open the windows to get some airflow going, not realizing that actually makes the houses hotter and lets the air conditioning escape. And that's also how bugs come in if you don't have any bug screens. But, I mean, the bugs come in even if there is bug screens. They figure out a way.
And especially with those palmetto bugs, they have this favorite thing they do when they die. They don't just crawl somewhere and die. They just lay in the middle of your kitchen.
Yeah, they make a display out of their death.
So
you killed me. Here I am, spread out, spread eagle.
people really, 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 especially who not from the South, that's one of the things people freak out about. And all you can do is really, as an advice, have your Orkin, have you whoever pest control company is
on speed dial.
On speed dial, pretty much. Yeah. Number one, number two, they don't listen to the host a lot of times. Guests don't, but they want to hear it from the professional. So I have a very good relationship with my pest control people. If there is a major issue where guests really don't understand what the situation is, my guy, example, in one of my pest control company, he can get on the phone very quickly and as a professional break it down that's not.
And that saved us a lot of money. Just in this past week or so, we had somebody that was and we it's not just cockroaches. We want to talk about all pests, obviously. We had an issue with a house where We had
The roof
previously
rat.
had an issue. Yeah, roof rat. Let's talk about roof rats.
I have no idea what that thing was before we crossed it.
So let me just give you a backstory here before he can explain the roof rat story. So we have a house on Whitmarsh Island that we rent out as a vacation rental. And we had, in December, while we were in Mexico, in December, we had people complaining about mice or rats, just rodents. They didn't even know. They didn't see them. And there was actually an issue. That was the winter time. It was kind of chillier, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't here, but I'm guessing that's kind of like the time that the rodents come inside for warmth as well to find shelter, build their nests and stuff. And we had an issue. So we basically shut down the house. We had exterminators come and lay traps. And I believe what they did is they actually spread
There was a they said there was some kind of pheromone they doing, which
pheromone. Yeah, that's the word they used.
yeah. So they knocked them out because apparently those creatures or whatever, there was a squirrel or the roof rats. I guess it was the roof rats at this point. They follow themselves back and forwards by using
their smell,
the
right?
smell.
Right.
This is how they get.
This is how they find their home.
And so that was the big. Well, there was two issues. Number one, you couldn't get rid of it by ripping off everything from inside of the roof and try to find the nest, which was very expensive. I mean, there was about $3,000-$4,000 it's going to cost you in major construction. Or you do this, that was about close to $2,000, I think, but you're still saving a little bit. But to do the thermal treatment, and they found the holes where these creatures get in, and they just close them.
And cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, cleaned
because
it
they were,
up and do all the
they made a mess.
disinfection. So yeah, it was. I think they were there for 4 days straight. There was like 2 trucks. There was like a major.
Yeah, it was a rodent SWAT team, basically.
That's what it was. Yeah, but they got rid of it and got rid of it very good.
And we had no more problems since December.
Since December.
Until
a couple days ago.
like a week ago or so, yeah. And then the neighbors, I mean, not the neighbors, the guests actually were complaining.
Yeah, they were just, they overreacted. They saying that possibly black bear got not even a possum.
No, yeah, seriously. They said, well, it sounds too loud to be a rodent. And it can't be squirrel, it's too loud for that as well. And it can't be a
possum
or anything. But it could be a black bear. Like if a black bear got into my attic, people out there in Savannah, I would know. It would be more damage than just a little tiny hole.
And I think it was a little bit over dramatized.
Yeah, this is a manly drama queen that talked about this.
It was he said
we mentioned no names here. Airbnb guest of undetermined name from another place.
So he woke me up at 4:00 in the morning. Well, I didn't sleep, thank goodness.
Actually, you were partying. Yeah,
But
I wasn't there. I was somewhere else.
Thank goodness I answered the phone. And he was over dramatized. He said that he moved his family to the basement.
They had guns. They were going to defend themselves.
He pulled the gun. He's going to be sitting up there. What going to do for him? And I was like, man, it's 4:00 in the morning. Monday morning, by the way. I do believe.
Right. You guys went out on Sunday. And then it was Monday morning, 4 a.m.
And, of course, no animal control, no pest control people.
They were going to call the police, actually. And I'm like,
But what the police going to do?
Not sure what the police is going to do in this case.
Just freak everybody out with the blue lights,
and
running around with the guns. Not much you can do. So,
right.
but anywho, the whole situation was resolved because, again, my pest control guy was very fast. First thing in the morning.
First thing the next day.
Yeah, like as soon as 8 o'clock, as soon as he saw my. So it's another advice. Please have your contractors. Please, you have people in a good relationship with you because.
And it's going to cost you because like the ones that we use are not cheap. But this is one thing where I don't save money. It's worth it. And in this case, actually, the guests wanted a refund for 2 of the 4 nights that they stayed because they were inconvenienced. But they didn't think they were inconvenienced enough to actually leave because, of course, there's nothing to be found in Savannah right now. That's a whole nother topic to rent for a couple of days or for a weekend. But he really wanted the last 2 days and he wanted the money back. I offered him a refund on the cleaning fee, right? It's about $200, $220 or something like that. And he refused. He said he wanted those 2 last nights off, and if I wasn't going to give it to him, he's going to go to Airbnb and ask them. And while we were talking to him and kind of keeping him at bay, you were talking to the pest control company.
Yeah.
And
so the pest control company, so what happened was it was a roof rat. And again, I didn't know what roof rat was, but now I do. There is a rats apparently who can get into your house through the underground, through the plumbing. Like they call them like a base rats or something. And then there's a roof rats. They're like squirrels.
Yeah. They come,
they
I guess, through the trees or something.
Yeah, they're like a squirrel. They like to do it. So apparently this old forgotten rat, that's what they're assuming.
Confused a little bit.
Yeah, just somehow
didn't realize
found
its family has left already since December.
Yeah, so got in the roof and apparently made so much noise that the person thought there was a black bear, but it was a really tiny
They got
roof
stuck,
rat.
so they got in there, and because we had closed all the holes, I guess we forgot one. He found that one hole, and then got stuck because everything was closed, and he was stuck in the attic basically.
Well, and a good thing that we didn't get charged for that call because that was their work, and we were still under warranty that they missed something.
Some hole somewhere, yeah.
So, but that was pretty interesting adventure. So,
yeah.
Don't freak out at 4:00 in the morning from the guest saying there is a black bear in your attic.
Yeah, and the way that actually worked out is that the guest subsequently stated that they wanted those 2 last nights off, and I said, look, and they were quoting basically, there's an infestation, there's diseases, my family was threatened, and just the whole big shebang of drama king, I should say. And
he threatened me too because he was official. I'm not calling from what state. He was in the public.
He was in the public relations, and he was going to report us to the CDC or some
Something
public
crazy.
safety office, and I mean he was really going to town on this one. So that's a whole nother story. But I basically, and my answer was, look, I mean, if you found it that was that horrible, why did you stay? He ended up staying those 2 nights when, I mean, granted, he probably couldn't find another place at that price anywhere in Savannah, but if the safety of your family is threatened, I wouldn't care. I'd leave. I mean, if there's a bear in my attic, I'm not staying the night.
But he recorded everything what the pest control people were doing because they were not very happy about it. It's not like they have to hide something, but nobody likes to be recorded, and when you do your job, it's just not right. But anywho, at the end of the day, Airbnb requested from us all the paperwork.
Documentation, what we did, and what, from the pest control, they don't listen to us or the guests. They want to see a professional's opinion.
Yeah.
And this was good.
And that was good. They just sent us the paperwork from all the time for last 2 or 3 years or something like that. What work they've done, what they found, what they
and
found. And
specifically that they were out that day and removed 1 roof rat. And I think it said, came to residence, found 1 roof rat in trap dead. He was already dead at the time. Yeah. Removed it, cleaned up, rebaited. There was no sign of infestation.
And closed
the case. And as soon as the Airbnb read that, they closed the case. So my guest didn't get his 2 nights refunded, nor his cleaning fee, because at this point, I feel like I've done enough, expended enough energy on getting this resolved, and the guest...
we tried to do maximum we can. We made an offer.
My time is valuable.
They didn't want to take it. So, but this is on the good note. This is summertime.
Basically, screw you.
Yeah. But this is a pest control segment because it is summertime. You will have those issues. Will have. But anybody who owns the house knows it.
And we were not rude about it, by the way. We're not such horrible slumlords or anything. We were being nice and kind, but. If your Airbnb host offers to work with you, just work with them. We're people too, just like you.
And we
use Airbnb ourselves.
We're not like a Hilton Head hotel where I have a maintenance crew cruising around. I answered the phone at 4:00 in the morning on Monday. I'm surprised I did that.
That's pretty good you did that. You usually passed out at that time. I mean, my phone goes off at a certain time. Whatever happens after that... Too bad.
So that was on pest control. But next segment, probably, do we want to play?
Yeah, we're going to play some music, but let's talk...
AC?
Let's talk about AC, but I wanted to get really briefly back to the topic of the cockroaches, or palmetto bugs.
Yeah, okay.
Because we kind of touched on that, and then we steer it off into rodents. But palmetto bugs here, this is something that many of you may not know. Maybe you do know it if you're a homeowner. But if you don't, this is good education. There is, of course, different types of species of cockroaches. And the one that usually scares everybody because they're so big and they have wings and they can actually fly and they freak everybody out are those big palmetto bug cockroaches. In fact, if you want to look it up on Google,
it's American cockroach, palmetto bug, or water bug.
They're huge. They're huge. I mean, they really can be very big, and they're very scary if you see them. And they have their antlers, and I mean, it's almost like a freaking deer, a deer bug or something.
Well, like a cockroach from Chernobyl or something.
You don't want to swat it because you'll make a big mess, basically. But the point is, even though they're so big, whenever you see them, they're usually loners. They don't usually. I mean, they do build nests as well in the houses, but it's easier to get rid of them. What we heard from our pest control company is the more dangerous ones are the small, tiny cockroaches. The German cockroaches is what they're called. And if you see those, if you see even just 2 or 3, you better be calling your pest control company exterminator ASAP, because that thing is going to go out of control very, very quickly, and it's going to take a long time to resolve. And we actually had that happen recently as well, at another house.
My new knowledge about that, even though I used to run restaurants and nightclubs, so I came across a lot of German cockroaches before where the food is, because German cockroach
don't say that to people here.
Yeah. But German cockroach needs people. If they don't, people are the one who create stuff. And sometimes it's not your house. Sometimes the guest who you're hosting can bring it with their luggage or anything, but they spread like a wildfire. But there is also another type of species which my pest control people explained to me. It's called Asian cockroach. It looks exactly, when they're small, they look exactly like a German ones. But they're not dangerous. They kind of like an American cockroach. Until they get big, then you can see the difference. When they're young, you can see the difference.
Same, yeah. And when they're small, they're pretty tiny. They could be as big as like maybe
so
like
my suggestion always been, you're going to help your pest control people and yourself so fast. If you can, if you're not grossed out, catch one of them. If you kill it, save them and show it to your professional, because then they can identify what it is.
And how to get rid of it,
Because if you wait 2 weeks with a German cockroach,
that's what we did. We did it because I don't know why. We're just busy all the time, so we kind of omitted to call and follow up, and before long we had...
In 2 weeks from seeing one, it was 10, 20 of them, just enjoying their life in the kitchen
and then
sink.
It took like a month to get rid of them at least. So
and we finally got it under control, but there's a lot of things. Make sure that you have no food laying around, obviously crumbs, things like that.
No dripping water faucets and stuff.
Big deal. People never clean behind the ovens, and that's something, because ovens usually can be pulled, the stoves and stuff.
Yeah, the stand-up ones.
Please do it at least once a month, because you wouldn't believe how much crumbs, and it's everybody, because you cook next to it, crumbs,
stuff
anything
falls,
just falls in, and this is a buffet for them. And I never have done it before I started working in Airbnb, but now it's once a month, pretty much. It's not that difficult. Pull the stove.
And also the little drawers at the bottom that are usually where people keep like their pots and pans and lids, which actually is actually made to keep your plates hot. People don't know this, but stuff falls in there too when you open the oven between the cracks, and it just accumulates there as well.
Yeah, for them and actually at some point we're gonna invite one of our pest control people just to talk about it
that would be a good idea. That would be an amazing idea. Yeah, let's do that. Especially here in the summer when we are in the south. Where we live, it's kind of like function of the climate, as I say.
Yeah. But again, the same thing you can see in New York. We were in the subway. I mean, I know it's a little bit out of the subject, but we like in the subway. There is rats walking around like they own the place. Just normally, just even look at you, just
like,
flip you a bird or something. Like, what are you looking at?
What? I live here. The rat goes, looks at you from the other side of the subway line there at the bottom. What?
Yeah.
What?
So that was on the past, I think. Right. So.
Right. Yeah. So that's a little bit of advice for all of you out there. So I think what we'll do, we are at, we're within 5 minutes of the bottom of the hour. Usually the way we structure the show, we play music in between and some announcements. And I think in the second part,
Let's
second
talk about
segment,
air conditioning.
air conditioning, because that's another big issue in the South here, and we have a lot of times problems with at this time of the year. So let's do that. I'll play you guys some entertaining music, and we'll be right back. Stay on.
What does it mean when we say that WRUU is a community radio station? It doesn't just mean that we invite the community to create programming. And it doesn't just mean that we are a voice for the community. It also means that we are counting on the community to keep us going. And you are the community. Almost all of our modest budget comes from small annual or monthly donations from listeners like you. You get to enjoy our community-focused programming because many others have stepped forward to do their part. Now do your part by joining our community of listener donors. Go to WRUU.org right now and make a one-time or monthly donation. And thank you for supporting Savannah's community radio station, 107.5 FM.
Trees are one of Chatham County's most treasured natural resources. Beyond their beauty and cultural significance, the impact of trees are far-reaching and compounding, spanning from economic benefits to health improvements to climate change resilience. Trees are woven into every aspect of our lives. Savannah Tree Foundation protects and grows Chatham County's urban forest through tree planting, community engagement, and advocacy. More information is available at savannahtree.org.
Estos son los sonidos de una cena que casi no sucedió. Es una cena servida gracias a personas como tú. Debido a la crisis actual, 50 millones de personas pueden vivir con hambre este año. Feeding America está ayudando a los que más lo necesitan. Y si quieres, tú puedes ayudar también. Visita feedingamerica.org/en-español. Patrocinado por el Ad Council y Feeding America, la fuerza de 200 bancos de alimentos.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us here for Real Estate Real Talk. My name's Julia M. Spencer. In the studio with me is Daniil Ivanov, my business partner. And this show is about in crime, Real Estate Real Talk. And we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing. In our first segment, we gave a little bit of our review of pest control issues that we've faced in the last couple of weeks and in the last couple of years, actually. I used to always say, oh, I don't want to spend any money on pest control. Like, can't I just buy a couple of traps and put them out? It's not that way here in the South. It's serious business. Like, you want it to taken care of, you need a professional.
You want to have a heavy artillery.
Heavy artillery SWAT team. And you need to be armed with the documentation, you know. I almost want to say, the Russian... We were thinking the same thing. The Russian saying goes, the more paper, the cleaner your booty.
Yeah.
So keep your paperwork, keep your documentation. That'll save you. Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about air conditioning, because that's our second topic of the day. And we have
second biggest problem as well.
Usually in the summer, yeah. It's 95 degrees in the shade out there. Today, I believe. Oh, I don't know. Today might be around a little bit less. We'll check.
But the humidity makes a difference.
Humidity and just being in the sun easily raises it up over the 3 digits. It feels a lot hotter, basically.
And 86 right now.
And if you have people coming, and I have a long spill about air conditioning, because air conditioning has been like a big topic of my interest in the last couple of months, because I was in Mexico for so long. And I have my whole opinion about all of that. And by the way, this is all opinions here, so people, please don't get offended. If you have others, please, send them to me. The way to reach me is realestate@juliamspencer.com. You can also leave me comments on my YouTube channel if you like, because this is going to be on the YouTube channel as well for later listening experiences. And let's talk about air conditioning. So what do we want to say? One of the first things that everybody says to me, any AC repair person, is if you run the air conditioning too low, there's going to be problems.
Yeah. Well, they freeze up, as everybody knows if you're in the South. So
actually, not everybody knows this. Not even people in the South.
So
Central AC we're talking about right now.
Again, don't quote me. I'm not a professional, but that's what some professionals told me. On average, even the best unit can drop the temperature by 26 degrees. So if we're
Fahrenheit,
talking about, by Fahrenheit, if you're sitting at 100 degrees weather And
You want to get down to 60? It
will
ain't
not-
gonna
will not
happen.
It's not happening unless you have Windows units and there is other tricks to do it. But pretty much the average unit,
You can sit in the fridge.
yeah, and the average unit will do 26 degrees. That's what That's what I was told. Again,
And that's,
I'm
of
not-
course, pending what the insulation is of your home as well. So if you have poor insulation, your house is maybe not built as good. I always feel that older homes are better insulated than the newer ones because
And a lot of brick homes, like
Brick
the
homes
one
as
like
well,
we have
right.
a few of those, like one in Atlanta. It's either hot, it's either cold. You can do it very quick because it's a brick. Insulation is fantastic, and you have a storm windows. That's another thing. Invest in it
Windows,
if you
yeah.
can.
big thing.
It's a big thing, absolutely. Storm
Double
windows.
pane,
Yeah,
you know,
they'll do
the
trick.
modern ones. I mean, they were nothing that was built in back in the day can keep up with modern day windows. Modern day windows are really the best thing that you can get.
And
If
they're
you're
not that bad.
environmentally conscious and you don't want to spend so much electricity and energy, you know, Windows is really your biggest thing.
And yeah, and the Freon right now is illegal gas. So if you have a new, only old systems still working on Freons, new ones you cannot get. And this thing can make it cold, but it's very bad for the environment.
Wait, tell me that again, because I thought the newer ones still
No,
run
they
on
don't have a Freons anymore because it's illegal, because they destroy ozone layer. That's why they don't do it. So they don't work as you remember something unit from 70s or 80s can freeze you. New
Oh, they have
units-
like different chemicals now that they use?
Yeah,
or-
they use something different that I'm not really sure what it. All I know that the Freon not anymore used because
Okay,
it's a
we'll
little-
have to
because-
check on that. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I
but I
remember
do
it in
know.
the restaurants as well.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's they trying to say it destroys the ozone layer. Number one, number two, it's not good for anybody, for humans. I guess it's some kind of carries some kind of damage. But
And you have to have a license to actually
Yeah.
place Freon in your system. You can't just go to the store and say, "Hey, I'd like
I don't think you can even buy.
I like
these.
some Freon." They're like, "Where's your license?"
Yep.
So you can't just get it.
So with AC units, even with the new ones, we have a problem. Well, this is where the problems happen. Usually it's not the units itself. Usually it's not the equipment. It's not the contractors who install it. It's not your house. A lot of times as a guest doing the damage, like everything else, usually is the guest who bringing that problem up on you. And we have people from obviously being
Or
in
tenants,
Savannah.
if you
or
have long-term tenants, yeah.
Yeah, usually what we have is
People
it's
coming from the north and
from
just
the north,
suffering.
Midwest. and-
Understandably so. If you're not used to these temperatures, and in the summer it's a nice 70, and then winter you're, get down
we
to
were wearing
cold.
jackets in New York a couple days ago.
Yeah, you don't need an air conditioning. You just open the windows. It's beautiful up there in the summer.
Absolutely.
In the winter, you need heat, obviously, but people are just not used to that kind of heat. It's
Yeah.
just
So the guest actually
breathtaking,
itself, yeah.
literally.
So itself, yeah. First of all, people just expecting to get the building to 60. I mean, I've seen 60. I've seen 58. Some dials were set up on. What they do is you just freeze your unit, and you will have no cold air whatsoever once the unit and the lines are frozen. So you actually not doing yourself a favor, and that's a lot of times what we're running into.
So what then happens is you have to shut off the system, as Daniil just mentioned, and it takes like 2 days for everything to thaw. But the problem that can happen is if your air handler is in the attic and you don't have a
The
drainage
pan, like a
pan
drain- yeah.
installed underneath it, the condensation, the water condensation from all that thawing and from the air fills up that pan sometimes faster than it can drain. But also, if you haven't had your air conditioning serviced in a long time, the drainage pipe might be clogged. That happened to me several times. And the water just overflows and it can flood your attic. And if that's in your attic, then your ceiling gets damaged too.
Carpets, you're running into
furniture, everything.
every
So what they
damage, yeah.
do is what they actually do, and this is kind of important if you don't know how to service your own air conditioning, which most people don't. An air conditioning specialist would come to your house, and they have pressure equipment, like kind of like a pressure washer, but without the water. It's actually air that's pumped out of these long pipes, and they stick it down to the drainage to get everything out of there to make the path clear so the water can run smoothly, because it accumulates and has debris inside the pipe as well. And if that happens, that's when your pan overflows.
Yep.
And some people don't even have a pan underneath their air handling system.
Yeah, and they don't even know, don't clean it. But also another suggestion I will do is we have an issue right now in one of the houses. Shut it off, because your HVAC person is going to thank you, because then he doesn't need to come in
Twice.
Wait until because it turns into a big ice block. And it's crazy to throw it out.
It's crazy to see that outside when it's 100 degrees outside, but that's how hard those systems work if you set them too low.
Yep. And unless you want to have the hair dryer in your hand and spend a couple hours do it yourself, just shut the system off. But I know you have a guest, and that's why we have a tip for that. If you have a guest or attendant who obviously you cannot be at 120 degrees house, even if the system frozen. So what we come up with, again, it's a little investment. Well, maybe not a little, but over time, you don't need to go and drop $5,000 to have what we have right now. But slowly over time, we accumulated a lot of window units, which is very saving us.
Which, by the way, dear people, if you're planning to go this route, what he's explaining right now, if you decide to stock up on window units, you can actually order them online, and that's what I would recommend. But I have had a last-minute emergency where I needed 5 window units. At this time of the year, when it's 95 or 100 degrees outside, no store will carry them. They are all sold out everywhere. This has nothing to do with COVID. It happens every single summer. So if you can do this in the wintertime when they're on sale, order them online, take your time. So the best time to get ready for summer is in the winter. Really.
And so is vice versa. Get your sleighs ready in summertime.
Exactly. Get your flood insurance before hurricane season, people. That's another good recommendation for another show. But go ahead, tell them what we do with the window air conditioners.
It's a good investment. It's good investment. Trust me, it's going to cost you. I mean, you will save so much money if you do it. Again, buy it slowly but surely. You can write it off on the taxes because it is for the business. So what we usually do is in properties where we have a sheds, we always have them as a backups. In the summertime, we're already installing them in the windows as is, because everybody says the house is never cold enough. Majority of our houses have them as a backup. And this is what saved our house right now, because the air conditioner froze up on Monday. Today's Wednesday, and the tech cannot get there until Friday morning.
Another function of this climate, if you need an air conditioning service person to come out the same day,
it's impossible.
You can forget it. It doesn't matter. You can even pay them twice as much. They just don't have time. There's not enough people that are technicians qualified to go around to all the problem houses in one heat wave.
Because
it's pretty
right
much
now
everybody.
It's not just commercial, it's residential. Everybody has struggling with ACs all the time. So what it's saving my guess right now in the whole situation is we have 3 those window units, which we turned them on, shut off the main, the central one. We're waiting on the tech. Friday, hopefully he'll be there. Hopefully he's going to thaw out so he can actually work on it and add whatever he needs to add if there is a part broken. But we really think all it needs to be done is frozen, because people just froze it.
Yeah, it needs to be, really, it just needs to be thawed. They need to, filters is another big thing. A lot of people forget or don't know, or
change them I suggest every
30 days.
Every 30 days would be perfect. Sometimes you cannot get to it as fast. But what I usually do, my truck is filled up not only actually with those units. I always carry on me like few units just in case.
We carry around AC window units, people.
But I carry like a lot of stuff, from the light bulbs to the batteries to whatnot, like soaps.
We got storage shed in that truck.
But what I would suggest, filters don't cost that much. Go to Walmart and get yourself, write it down, stock up, and you can leave them in the house. It's not like people are going to be stealing them. Put it like 2 or 3 and just replace them constantly, especially summertime. That's again the maintenance, which you think you're wasting money, but in the long run, it's gonna.
And here's
save
another
it.
thing to that. If you're a guest staying at somebody else's Airbnb, don't change the air filters for your host. Just tell us. We'll do it for you.
Yeah, and especially if you don't know how to change them, because we've seen a number of times people putting them wrong way
Oh
in.
my God, yeah. Backwards and sticking the wrong sizes in there, shoving them in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't try to fix
just
anything.
don't. just
Call
let
us.
us handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here. We're trying to help you. Enjoy your time at the beach or downtown.
So
Don't
that was
fix-
my thing. I think about HVACs. That's what was important.
Mm-hmm.
But which brings me to the very quick, and that's like a small addition. Again, we're not advertising. I'm not calling anybody's names, any companies. Appliances.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal summertime. Big deal in Savannah. We're on the beach. Sand.
Sand gets into the washers, and that'll ruin
Washers.
your washing machine.
Yeah.
And if you combine the sand from the clothes, from the beach, from the towels, with detergent that's in pulver form,
Yeah.
you got a mess coming. Not when, but not if, but when it's gonna come.
It turns like it's cement, like a concrete,
Mm-hmm.
and it kills the machines. About that, always good to have the insurance. Like there is tons of them, different home insurance which cover the appliances. But this is where we're standing as well on that advice for everybody who is out there for Airbnb or even renting the properties. Do know some kind of good appliance store, even if it's a used appliance store, because nowadays you cannot just go to Home Depot and order a refrigerator.
Right.
It's
How
all
many
this-
times did we try on the last minute to buy an appliance because we can't get the repair person there fast enough? And we go to Home Depot or Lowe's or any other store, really. It's not they're not singled out or anything.
They just don't stock it up anymore because they have a display item, so that they don't carry. The inventory is completely zero. If you see something, it says
You
it's
have
a
to
display
order it.
item.
And
So
then you
gotta
have to
order it.
wait for somebody to come and bring it and install. I mean, it's not a quick fix.
No, and this is where I have my appliance guy as well on the speed dial. Mm-hmm. He knows me very well. He just saved me before I went to New York, where I had to situation happened. One of the houses, the washing machine broke, and it happens. It's not a big deal, but it happened when the guest arrived, the day of the guest was arriving.
2 hours before.
2 hours before.
Well, actually, it happened before that, but we didn't pay
didn't get
attention to it or
Because
something.
because our cleaning crew let us know and somehow skipped us or something like that. But we were lucky that we have actually two locations next to each other, so the cleaning crew could use the washing machine in another place. Mm-hmm. But because we kind of didn't see it as an emergency, we kind of like, well, we'll handle it. But here we are. I need to fly out next morning to different city, and
Washer's broken now.
and I'm here with a lot of guests, 5-bedroom house arriving without the washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do? Technician will not be there until the 21st. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. The earliest date.
Yeah, that was the earliest date, 21st.
No, actually.
No,
well,
he couldn't have done it earlier, but still about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, but people were already there, so I mean, we can't just schedule it right in the middle of somebody's vacation, so that's just not good.
So the insurance obviously will take care of it. They will either fix it, or if they cannot fix it, they cut you a check to replace that machine. But I'm losing the guest, I'm losing the money. Again, I'm not saying have the appliance garage of your own. It would be nice to have an extra machine here and there, but there is also plenty of these places we do the used appliances. And you can get the washer for $400. I mean, I got this one very fast, actually in the same model.
300 or so. It
300
was cheap,
was the
yeah.
taxes and everything. It was $275. And
Might not have warranty though. I don't know. if
yeah,
it
the
has
warranties usually, a lot of places do like about 30 days to 90 days warranties, and they do the installations. But if you have a truck, and it's not really difficult to install the machine. If you have a friend who's like physical enough, can help you out, dolly, you can replace it very quick. That's what saved me, because my guy who is in an appliance store, one of the employees, He actually lived not far away. And I kind of had to come out of the pocket. I had to pay him cash.
Mm-hmm.
But he brought after work the machine, installed it for me. We saved the guest. Mm-hmm. And that machine is just staying next to it right now while I'm waiting on the tech to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have an extra machine we can put in
And
another
now we have
house,
an extra
so
machine.
that's
So
good.
again, it's not, I know we're saying, hey, spend money, but it's not
Takes
that.
money to make money,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
And it's not that amount of money. We didn't buy $1,000 machine
Mm-hmm.
or $1,500 machine, which obviously we're going to hit the pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got the machine for $300. I
Right,
saved
right.
the guest. I mean, we saved $2,000. Not upset guest
Mm-hmm.
investing $300, but it's not happens every time. Now we have a backup.
Right, right.
So have my suggestion, because I'm mostly operations
Mm-hmm.
in the company, have everybody, your pest control people line up, the appliances people line up.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a good person who you like, if you like watch a lot of TV, internet people, if you have somebody in, I don't know, in Comcast or I don't know what other companies up there, a lot of them, AT&T, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Roof guy, I mean, anywhere you go, meet people, talk to
Yeah,
them,
you gotta
get their
have-
business cards.
Landscaping people, tree people,
Tree
pest
people, we
control. I
just
mean, you
found a
gotta
good
have your
tree-
team. It's you can't do it alone. I tried for the longest time. I gave up. I'm glad you're there because what you're doing, I don't want to do anymore.
But I mean, even the tree people, I just found the local tree guys. Sometimes you have time, you drive by, you see some guys working on the trees, just stop by, get their business cards, introduce yourself,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's your neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're
This-
already there. They don't have a problem going next door for a couple extra bucks.
Yeah, we just had, we were cutting the trees.
Our neighbor even stole our people
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah, for a minute, because they were waiting on me, and I arrived. I was like, I see their trucks, but they, like, for some reason, working on 3 houses down. I was like, what's going on? It's like, oh, somebody just paid us $50 to get rid of some roots or something. I don't know what they were
that
doing.
was good. That was good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and so I guess this show is more like it's about tips for Airbnb hosts or short-term vacation, but really just landlords as well. So
Yeah.
this is stuff that accumulates over time and kind of sticks in our heads. We want to share with
But
you.
even the homeowners. I mean,
Homeowners too, yeah.
Because this HVAC, get yourself the insurance. That unit can be $5,000-$10,000.
Oh yeah,
But
a
you
compressor
pay
is easily like $3,000 or $2,000. I think I paid at 110 one time.
septic tanks, things like that. It's just
Septic tanks, yeah.
another-
Try to anticipate the problems before they happen if you can.
Yeah.
But you can't always. So
But like 50% of success is actually be prepared. So
Mm-hmm.
try to prepare yourself. Stuff will break. Nothing is forever.
yeah. I used to be very upset about things breaking. And I'm like, when is there ever going to be a time where everything is fixed? And I'm like,
It's never.
my contractor said, Julia, are you kidding me?
It's like a construction
What you just
on
said
the road.
does not make sense, does not compute. Wrong.
Yeah, think about it. Our crew's working like every day on the roads. It's never stopped.
It never stops. Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to add, before we get off the air here, because we only have a couple more minutes left, I wanted to add something about air conditioning, since that was our second segment here. Having spent 2 months in Mexico in the heat,
Yeah.
in April and May, I was there. It is very expensive to run air conditioners there. Obviously, first off, because it's very hot there in the summer, and also because electricity is just more expensive. In fact, it actually costs
About
the same or even more than here per kilowatt. So when you go and rent places there, they will actually give you a quota of electricity you're allowed to use with your unit, and everything beyond that they charge you extra per kilowatt. And they will come and check the meters before and after your stay. So it is in your very best interest not to run it at 60 degrees or even anywhere near that,
Yeah.
or actually better not at all, in order not to have to get this huge bill at the end of your stay. And I think, except for the first time that we stayed, because we had several one-week stays, I had to pay. And I thought I wouldn't have to pay because I was very economic about using the air conditioning. I didn't run it during the day, only ran it at night when I was sleeping. But in my defense, of course, I got COVID, so I was stuck in bed all day for 2 weeks. for about a week, not that long. And so I was running it during the day, the hottest part of the day, and I had to be cool. But what I noticed is that after being there for 2 months, after a while, I was just so hot all the time. I went to the store, I was sweating and just dying. And then I was thinking, the Mexican people that live there, they walk around, they have long pants, boots, long sleeve shirts, huge hats. They have their necks tied up with scarves and stuff.
Like bandanas.
Bandanas, yeah. And I'm like, why are they not sweating? Like, if I was to wear what they're wearing, I would die. Like, we couldn't wear less clothes than we were already wearing. Otherwise, we'd be running around naked because it was just too hot to wear anything on your body. And then I started looking at websites and reading at these expat groups conversations and just people that came from the United States, from Canada, from Europe, how they've dealt with the heat. And the one thing that I noticed is that if you make a conscious choice to embrace the heat, and this might not work for everybody because you might have some health issues, so please don't take my word as gospel. If you have health issues, talk to a doctor first. But if you're a healthy person, embracing the heat and turning off the air conditioning, or at least down at your home, but also, for example, when you're driving in the car, like I don't even use air conditioning in the car at all anymore, just windows down.
Windows, yeah.
And embrace the heat. You're going to sweat. It's going to be hot. But if you do that for like a month or two, your body will adjust and you will not be hot anymore. It's quite comfortable for me to be out in 90-degree weather right now. I don't suffer anymore. And I see people around me and they're just running from air-conditioned place to other air-conditioned place, and they just can't handle it. And what that also causes to your body is very bad for your body, because your body constantly has to adjust from heat to cold, which makes it tired, which makes you drink more coffee, which makes you even more tired, and all these problems, anxiety with too much caffeine. I mean, all these things. You can ask any doctor and they'll confirm this, but I'm just telling you what I've experienced coming back from those 2 months of Mexico. Heat doesn't bother me anymore. It just doesn't bother me.
You get the flu, you get sick in the summertime. How you get sick? It's because you go from 100 degree into 60 back and forwards all the time.
Right.
Well, my brother who lives in Germany, every time he comes into the States, he gets sick every time just for air conditioning.
Right.
He's a healthy person, everything is fine, but as soon as he lands in the United States, he gets the cold directly from the first cab ride or what. Yeah.
And so that's just a little wisdom for your day. Think about it, read up on it. Anything I say here is open for discussion and debate. So I invite your recommendations and ideas and things maybe that you've experienced. Send them to me in an email if you'd like, realestate@juliamspencer.com. And also you can always leave comments on my YouTube channel, of course. All my videos and these shows are also published there. And I hope this is useful to you. We are out of time just about. So what are we going to do today? We have middle of the week is usually our downtime. We get busy on the weekends here.
Yeah, we got to go shopping.
Yeah, shop for food.
Yeah, we got to go to the islands, check a few things out. I don't know.
Let's just
enjoy, take a nap, maybe have a lunch. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, this is good. I love it. This is what Savannah's all about.
Bike.
Chill out.
We need to find the bike. We got to go to the storage.
Yeah, we got to get a bicycle. I think we have one in storage, right? Yeah.
Good. For that.
Anyways, thanks for joining us for an hour of talking about real estate and anything and everything related to real estate investing. You're listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. My show here on is at Wednesdays at noon. And so middle of the day, middle of the week, easy to remember. Sometimes I'm here by myself. Usually I'm here with Daniel Ivanos. He's my business partner in crime, as he says, in our vacation rental business here in Savannah and all the other stuff that we do with real estate all over other parts of the state and other states as well. We talk about those on different shows because I do a lot of tax sale foreclosures and I do a lot of education and podcasts and things. So you can check me out if you'd like. For more information, Julia M. Spencer. You can find me easily on Google. And you That's it.
But if you want to join the show, and if you're part of the want to come as a guest, and if you contractor, real estate agent, real estate lawyer, whatever you have to do with a real estate, you
Yeah,
can always
come on our
contact
show.
us.
We'll
Yeah,
want to talk to you.
absolutely.
Contact us, especially if you're local. We want to hear your story and any wisdom that you can share with the homeowners that are out there here in the Savannah area and in all of the United States, wherever you're listening from.
Yeah.
So thank you and have a great Wednesday. And you are listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.